Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my watch list for January 7th. All right, so taking a look at the futures here, we are on the monthly chart. The SPY futures basically gapped up over the weekend here as we opened, gapped up a little bit from the previous Friday's close. However, after the gap up, we are a little flat. So I do think because of Friday's action, the way it popped, this thing needs to pull back just a tad before it makes its next move. Personally, I am still in a bear market mode right now, and I still think this pop we had on Friday is more of a trap pop to trap in the shorts. And I don't think the trap is done. I think they might, in this coming week, they might bring it down and then pop it again back up into this 2600 level before the real sell-off actually happens. But with that said, what I'm looking for tomorrow is a little pullback day, kind of like a pullback down to Friday's close, and it might even trap the longs a little bit and come down all the way to 2518 area, and then it rips back up for red to green, and then we should be able to finish around the 255 area. That's my thesis for tomorrow. So overall, I'm gonna be looking for like a dip and rip red to green scenario for tomorrow, just because we do need a tad little pullback. If I were the smart money and I'm gonna set a trap, right, for the next few days, this day is basically just one step ahead. But the real trap, if I were to set a trap, I would pop it up a little further, bring it back up to here within the week, and then hammer it down once it reaches by the end of the week. This is probably by Friday or Thursday when everybody thinks the market is rebounding. Then that's where they'll strike. So once again, to reiterate my thesis for tomorrow, I'm going to look for a little dip and rip to continue this trap that they have started. Maybe down to Friday's closing price, might bring it down just a tad more to trap the short term, the weak hands longs, right? And rip it back up, finishing about 255. So with that said, into the SPY we go. That actually means here I'll just mark it off. I think the SPY is gonna finish up right here tomorrow, according to my thesis, at this 255.30 area, but not before it dips and holds around this 251.30 to 250 area. Okay. Now let's change the colors here. All right. And that's my thesis on the SPY tomorrow. Looking at it on the intraday 1 hour time frame, just gonna zoom in, make the chart a little bigger. As you can see, I've marked off 251.25 here. You can see this is prior resistance, prior support, right? Short term trumps long term. Right now we're holding just above support, right? I think it's gonna come down, snap it just to scare out the longs, and then bounce right back up right from 250 here. Right here at this area, 250.30, rip right back up, and then that's how they're gonna get all the dumb money to play the markets tomorrow. That's my thesis. With that said, let's get into some charts. All right. First up, I want to look at EA Sports. Electronic Arts. So basically, Electronic Arts I really like because it's coming right up into this 85 mark on the daily chart, which is the 50 SMA. Okay. Now this spot is basically the line in the sand for the short sellers, right? As you can see, this is a very downbeaten chart, and we are coming up into a heavy resistance. If my thesis is correct, I do think this is going to dip and rip. So I'll be looking for a support test right here out the gates at the open at 84. Okay, anywhere from 84 to 84. If I were to fine tune it, I'd say 83.80s. So let's look at that on the 15-minute chart. So there's that 84, and I'll give it some wiggle room to right about there. 70s, did I say? 80s. So around the 75s, 80s area. Okay, so that's what it looks like. If you look at the 1-minute chart, there's that support, and here is the support area. So we have a very concise support zone. As it comes down tomorrow, it's going to hold and then rip, do a red to green, and I'm going to aim for the, well, my first target is the high of days here at 85.25, and then once it starts holding 85, this thing is going to squeeze right back up and over this 50 SMA here, and perhaps test the potential of 87. Okay, so for long, this is great potential. As long as the opening dip support holds, my thesis will be playing the red to green. If it snaps though, then I'm gonna watch for a retrace and then a fail and then short it back down, right? There's two ways to play this chart. Because the stock is on like a 9 EMA breakout on Friday, so it does need a day to pull back, right? So if this 84 doesn't hold, it's going to pull back, and I'll play that short for the pullback day. That's EA. Next up, we have LUV, Southwest Airlines. Basically the same thing, same idea as EA, right? I'm looking for a dip and rip, red to green, and the support I'm looking at 47.20 right here. So anywhere around this 47 to 47.20 area, this is a key support area in my opinion, and I'm going to look for the dip to hold here and then rip it back up, and then once again inverse the idea. If it doesn't hold, I'm going to look for a pop back into this, like if it snaps, I'm going to look for a pop into this resistance area and fade it back down for a pullback day. Also note that the 47 is the 9 EMA on the daily chart. Okay, it does have signs of very key support area right here. And this thing actually has a lot of potential. I like to see the target or set the long target to 48.75, which is 48.75 to 49, basically. Okay, so right here and here, this would be my target area, and the reason is basically this massive candle. It's the top of this candle right here. If we're looking on December 21st, right, we have massive volume, and the highs of December 21st is at 47.80s. Okay, so we are right at the support area. So it really depends, and the futures is opening kind of flat right now after the gap up. So it really depends on what it looks like out the gates. So we'll have to check back on that. AAPL, same thing. Dip and rip. If we are gapping up, then even better. If we gap up, then I'm going to look for a dip to hold the 148, right? Okay. However, if we are going to dip, I like to watch this area, the 146.75 area right here, okay, which is the low of this candle, 146.70 and 146.60. So let's mark these off. Okay, so we have a very concise support area, looking for a dip and rip right about there. And if it doesn't hold, then it's a short thesis, because Apple does have a bad catalyst going on, right? The idea on Apple is I want to see this run a couple more days to kind of fill the gap, right? We have this gap right here from when they initiated the guidance, the bad guidance. Okay, so we are in the middle of gap fill right now. The 150 area is key resistance, also a key psychological whole number. So I'm going to look for that and be careful when it gets there. If I do manage to get in on a good long here around this 147 area, my target would be 150. Okay. Next up, we have MOMO. MOMO, same thing, same type of looking chart, right? MOMO is on a breakout of the 9 EMA. Very simple on MOMO. I mean, a dip and rip I would be looking for the key psychological whole number of 25 as well as 2510, right? So basically, we have a concise support zone or support area. Maybe give it a little bit of wiggle room to 2490, but I don't think it can. It will go a little bit. It will go under that 2490 area if tomorrow we're gonna have a long day. As you can see, we have a lot of support here at the 25 mark. We have December 10th, December 11th, the 18th, the 19th, the 31st, the 2nd of January. So basically this area has been tested a lot of times. We are on a breakout. I do think it does have a second day. As far as target goes, if this thing squeeze, I'm looking for 27, which is the closing price of December 6th, where we have massive volume, as well as the highs of December 7th. So 2 massive volume days. These here are, in a sense, my key resistance area for the next target. Okay. If it breaks out 26, then it's just an automatic. It's an automatic magnet to 27. If you're looking at the daily chart here, if you were a short seller, you would short during this gap down, right? This is the day, December 7th, you would short here, okay? And then you'd cover. And then on December 12th, you would short this weakness and hold the short long term. Now the shorts are kind of getting squeezed, but I'd say a lot of their average, or their kind of a line in their sand, their maximum pain threshold would be the 26 area. So if it does break over this 26, it is gonna squeeze and automatically run up to 27. That's my take on MOMO. Finally, we have NVDA. Once again, a very similar chart. As you can see, all 5 of these tickers that I picked tonight have a very similar pattern to a continuation day run. NVDA, I'm looking for the 135 test. Maybe a little lower. 135 and yeah, I like the 135. 135 is very nice. Looking at Friday, the highs is at 135.16. So anywhere from, if it holds 135, then it's gonna rip. It's basically kind of very close to the 9 EMA. The 9 EMA here on the daily chart is at 134.50. Okay, that's the 9 EMA. So I think it's gonna dip and test this 9 EMA and then rip back up again. We have you can see it's kind of like curling up, right? So I'm trying to develop the hard right edge here, trying to look or speculate what will happen in the future. And to me, we're seeing higher lows. We have a nice little bottom curl. We are above 9 EMA, and we are coming into a point where the shorts are about to hit their line in the sand here. The maximum pain threshold, probably 138.50. I'll be watching that to squeeze if it gets back above over. Okay, and that's basically it for my watch list. Once again, reiterate the main plan for tomorrow. I'm looking for dip and rip, and then the plan overall in the market, I am looking for still kind of like what happened last week. It's gonna run a couple days more, and then late during the week around Thursday, Friday. Once the SPY gets back up to around the 260 area, that's where I think the smart money will really set that trap and hammer it in and sell into everybody that believe that the market is rallying. Okay, so that's my plan. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up in the comments, and check out my video links in the video description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Have a great week and have a great evening.